Hi everybody, it's September 5th, 2025. I noticed with myself that as a child, I think I was diagnosed with ADD, which they called it that back then, and I was recommended to use Ritalin, but I never did. And I was not I didn't have problems learning. I had problems taking my schoolwork seriously. And I think this was for my benefit because I wasn't socialized as the other kids were. I wasn't, my brain or my mind wasn't built within the normal logic that we were taught in school, because I wouldn't pay attention most of the time, even though I did somehow proceed through the grades. And as I got older, I learned in college, and I began to really love learning. I felt that it was leading to something. And that is all to say that I think learning from the spirit is the best education you can have. So deep learning from the spirit can work like a fluid motion or a meditative kind of structure. It's obvious to say that we learn from our experiences, but it goes deeper than that. It's more like our experiences just aren't things that happen to us. Our experience filter down into our memories and filter down into our body, our muscle memory, and they are impactful. They are kinetic. So this kinetic, spiritual kinetic experiences that we go through may shock us, and during the shock we may lose the ability to record faithfully what happened. So as you learn from the spirit, as you get older, the initial trauma from these shocking events that are supposed to teach us, they die down to an amount where you could gather information from and come up with wisdom. And to gain wisdom in the spiritual education realm is to look at who you have become because of what has happened to you, and you walk it back from there. So for instance, if you had a lover and they left you abruptly without giving you explanation, without considering your feelings that you still have for them, that traumatic experience that you went through with your whole being is going to leave markers all around your internals. And so you want to go inside when you can and look at what marks they left on you and where. So for example, your time in your life without your partner is going to be more free. There's going to be more thinking time, and you might think that you were happier with them in the past, and that may be true. Well, what can you learn from that? You can learn the spirit will teach you what you can give most of the time. So you can learn that when you have your next partner and you realize how good a time you had with your partner and what he or she did for you during your time together made you believe that you were happier in the past with them, that is a sign for your duty. That's your next duty. The next person you are with, you should want to make their time with you feel like you were the good part of their life, like you were the reason they were having a good time, like the partner did for you beforehand. And so another lesson that this breakup or this lost relationship can teach you is that now you feel like the onset of the depression is due to this removal of this relationship. And so now you have a whole new packet of emotions, mental ideations, physical aches, physical tightness to decipher. And through working through your depression with the spiritual education, you could find that life goes on. You could learn the meaning of that saying, that life goes on, that life will heal you through time, the passage of time. And you can learn to work your mind in a way that makes you strong enough to get out of bed when you don't want to, that makes you exercise where you feel like you have no absolute energy. And those are valuable lessons that you learn from the onset of depression, from a seemingly negative part of your life. So this is how you have spiritual education through your life. So situations always leave marks in data indexes to go to and to learn through these experiences that come into your life. So spiritual learning is deeper because this is the very meat of life. This is living life. This is not a profession. This is not artistic endeavor. This is not physical exercise. This is the living of your life. So whatever happens to you, there's always going to be packages left in the parts where you don't want to look, sometimes left in the painful points that have been left there by the events that happen, or by the loneliness or isolation. So whenever a challenge comes to you, we have a tenderness that stops us from poking at what is causing us trouble. But as I just stated, it's where you don't want to look that you will find the lessons, that you will find the wisdom to heal yourself and to learn about living life, which is what we primarily do here. And I do want to describe how to do this in detail, but I don't think that's what this is for. I think learning how to decipher your own internal world, your own internal character, is something that is better learned by yourself, because that's the way it's going to stick. But I can say that using your spirit for deep education becomes a habit, and habits live on the friction of action. And so I would say, don't be discouraged when there seems to be absolutely nothing happening in your life to give you a lesson, to give you a spiritual education. Don't take that as there's nothing there, there's nothing to learn. Take that as a time for peace and a time to live your life, a time to implement healthy habits, healthy living standards, until the next time you find something that there is to learn inside of you that has to do with living your life. So I hope this helps. Thanks.